All right, let's jump right into one of the most fascinating and, let's be real, one of the most confusing ideas in all of Christian theology, the Trinity. We're going to break down this idea of how one God can somehow also be three distinct persons. And this, right here, is the question that gets everybody. How can something be both one and three at the same time? It sounds like a math problem that's impossible to solve, right? But the secret to this isn't in math. It's actually in the words we use and getting our definitions crystal clear. So this is the classic formula you'll hear over and over again. One being, three persons. And I know it sounds like a contradiction, but those two little words, being and person, are the entire key. They mean two totally different things. And once you see the difference, everything starts to make sense. So let's start by tackling this central puzzle head on. You know, this isn't some new question. People have been thinking about this for thousands of years. But we're going to build a simple framework that really makes it click. Before we can even touch the three, we have to get the one locked in. This is the absolute starting point, the non-negotiable foundation. Christianity is a monotheistic faith, period. This verse is the cornerstone, making it perfectly clear the Lord is one. Whatever else we figure out, it can't and won't break this rule. All right, now for the fun part, the solution. The way we solve this puzzle of 1 and 3 is by using a very specific toolkit. Just two words, being and person. I promise you, if you can get the difference between these two, the whole idea of the Trinity just falls right into place. Okay, first step in our toolkit is the word being. Think of this as the answer to the what question. If you ask, what is God? The answer is divine essence. It's the substance, the nature, the godness of God. And there is only one of these, one divine being. And here's the second part of our toolkit, person. Now, if being answers the what question, person answers the who question. So, who is God? Well, the answer to that is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. See? It's not a different answer to the what question. It's the answer to a totally different who question. And here it is laid out side by side. This is really the aha moment. On the left, you have the what, the one single divine essence, the being. On the right, you have the who, the three distinct identities, the persons. So it's not 1 equals 3. It's 1 what and 3 whos. The contradiction just disappears when you use the right words. Okay, now that we have our what versus who toolkit, let's put the whole picture together. So here's how it works. You have one single divine being. That's God. And that one being is fully and completely shared by three co-equal, co-eternal persons, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. None of them is more God than the others. They all share that one single divine nature. And what's amazing is you see this exact structure all through the Bible. You get that constant drumbeat, God is one. But then you also get verses that say Jesus, the Word, was God, and that the Holy Spirit is God. And then, in incredible moments like the baptism of Jesus, you see all three, Father, Son, and Spirit, distinct and present at the very same time. Now, this brings us to a really important point, and frankly, one that trips a lot of people up. If Jesus is the Son, does that mean he was created, or that he's somehow less than the Father? Let's clear that up right now. The key is understanding that the title, Son of God, isn't about biology. It's about relationship. Think about it. In the ancient world, a son was the heir. He carried the very nature and authority of his father. So when the Bible calls Jesus the Son, it's making a massive claim that he shares the exact same nature and identity as the Father. So let's be crystal clear about this. The title Son actually proves that Jesus is not a created being, but that he is eternally God. He shares that one divine being with the Father. The term Son is simply the perfect word to describe their unique, personal relationship inside the one Godhead. And this is that incredible moment, the great confession from the Apostle Peter. When he says Jesus is the Son of the living God, he's not just saying something nice. He's making a profound declaration about Jesus' divine identity, that he is one with God himself. So after all of that, you might be asking yourself, okay, that's interesting, but so what? Why go through all this mental gymnastics? Why does this idea even matter? Well, to put it simply, the Trinity is the framework that makes sense of everything else in the Bible. It's the only way to explain how Jesus could pray to the Father and yet also say, I and the Father are one. It's the theological key that unlocks who Jesus really is and what God is really like. So let's just recap the whole thing in 4 easy steps. 1. Start with the non-negotiable fact that there is only one God. 2. Make that crucial distinction between the what, the being, and the who, the person. 3. Recognize that the Bible points to 3 distinct whos who are all God: Father, Son, and Spirit. And 4. Understand that all 3 of these persons share that one single what, that one divine being. So we'll end with this thought to chew on. The Trinity isn't just an ancient math puzzle. It makes a profound claim about the nature of reality itself, that at the very core of existence is not a solitary being, but a community of love. And that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? If the ultimate reality is relational, how might that change the way we think about our own lives, our relationships, and our own identity?